Exactly.
All right, we are live. Hello,
Hello.
I am Shovda. I play Super Mario World ROM hacks. This is Blue Ribbon High Life, who will be on comms with me.
That's correct. I'm Blue.
There we
Hello.
go. We just learned about this marathon a couple hours ago, so here we go. This is a hack. Well, I'll say this in a minute. Timer starts, and I do the timer myself. 3, 2, 1, go. This is a ROM hack of Super Mario World starring Sonic the Hedgehog, made by Maddie Thorson, who is the creator of Celeste.
Yeah, this first level starts us out pretty tough. As you can see, it does not look easy, and it's not easy. I remember when I first picked this up, this level almost made me put it down right away. Shovda is going to make all of these look fairly easy. But I promise you that none of them are.
See, in my head, I went for the split button right there, and I just...
You know, it's a couple. You're just shaving a few seconds, microseconds off your time. You can get a new PB easy that way.
It's true. It's true. This is gonna be the turn.
So these springs are really gigantic. They launch you high into the air. They're red, and then the green ones disappear. You control the jump, and that's pretty much the only thing you have to look out for here. Do a small jump when you need a small jump, big jump when you need a big jump.
There is a less than 1% chance this will crash at the end of this level. I've had it happen maybe 6 times in about 850 runs. Alright, there we go.
Alright.
Yeah.
We're through. So unlike the intentional crash that we'll see at the end of the run.
Yes.
If we get that far. We'll get to the end of it. Rather, I don't know if you're going to crash it on stream or not. That is one of the tough jumps. I think you say it's one of the 3 toughest. That's one of your 3, isn't it?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
It is.
I think that one's really tough. But it's not one of the 3 toughest, I guess.
Yeah, it might be 4.
It's a pretty rough hook jump. There's a lot. One of the things that of this hack demands a lot more than a lot of contemporary hacks is precision. Precision is a genre of Kaizo that you'll see to be, where there will be expected a lot, but a lot of the hack doesn't have precision. So it's interesting. It's blended in a way that you don't see a lot in levels where there are suddenly very precise moments. There's always an aspect of precision to Kaizo, but a jump like that, you're going to see some one-tile gaps in here. Those are things you don't normally see outside of precision exclusive hacks.
I should call her.
Exactly.
This is why you should never call your ex after a breakup. Because of the Doom machine gun.
Yeah. How many times has this happened to you, John? Just show up facing a Gatling gun. And yet, every time.
Okay, we
So
got
you see
there.
at the end there, Shovda took some extra evasive maneuvers, took a hit early, but had the mushroom to tank the hit. But normally she takes a hit right at the end there, so we got to see a little bit of extra maneuvering, really expertly done, to save the life there and save all the time from what would have been. It's a fairly long level to have to restart, so even from the H. You'll see this in a few different levels where we are facing to the left. This one surprised me when I played it. It's a lot less confusing than it looks. This one's actually tougher to watch than it is to play in some ways. Like, it looks like it's very confusing, but really, facing left, you just treat it like normal, and it works out pretty well.
All of the left-facing levels also have a secret exit that we need to hit instead of doing the normal exit, so that's what that was.
Yeah, invisible secret exits.
As one does.
Mhm.
This is the Monster Energy Drink Fortress. Please
Yeah.
note that the Monster Energy drinks make you go vroom.
That's true. Not sponsored. Yet. Except in the lore of the hack. You see some really good tips. This is one of the few levels where you're actually like really fundamentally skipping some of the setups. So there was that one spot there where you may have noticed Shovda went underneath the entire level, which is not expected, and skipped a few different things there. A lot of times with Kaizo speedruns, you'll see it's a lot of precision play, but it's playing what's expected, just doing it really well and not dying. But it's fun to see you skip here and there too. Very nice.
And then in Super Mario World fashion, you have a nice little cutscene at the end of every castle. So
Yep,
Sonic is
exploded out of his gourd.
dang right.
We were both too eager to say that one.
We were.
I wish I was just a smidge slower and we would have said it in absolute precision with each other.
So it's worth noting that each of the worlds has a couple levels and then a castle and then a switch palace. And each of the worlds takes place as like a corner of the map, which by the way you can walk on like freely, which is a custom thing instead of following a set path in regular SMW and in most hacks. Yep. That's a 1 frame trick. 60 frames per second. If it were OOT, we would have had 3 frames to work with. I had to throw it in there.
No, exactly.
But you can see like us walking back, and after every world we return back to this level in the middle called I Keep Crawling Back, which appropriately named, and then we have to do something in one of these 4 pipes. This will be one of the 3 worst jumps in the hack coming up at the end of this. And we hit it.
Hey, nice. Yeah, very appropriately named Central Hub.
Yep.
And it's a really interesting way to play through a hack to have, so often in Kaizo hacks we have a very linear progression through things, or maybe 1 or 2 paths. Standard Super Mario World ROM hacks do have a lot more of these branching paths that you see, so it's definitely taking some inspiration from that, and from other hacks Kaizo that have done it as well. But the free walkover world was definitely got some getting used to, and was surprising to see it so well gated to still make you have to visit each of the things in relative order. So the trick here is that the water is trying to pull you to the right, and so you have to go either against it or let it take you if you really want to go to the right. So you'll see we're doing the any percent on this, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we see here there's 3 levels, and so at this point the player would have a choice to go to any of those levels, but you don't need to beat all 3 of them to continue through. I think we have to beat through 2 of them, and then we'll get to move past and skipping what is generally the hardest of the bunch each time we get into one of those positions.
I wouldn't say always the hardest. Some people do the hardest. I skip whatever is the longest, which is not always the same.
Yeah, smart.
My route notoriously saves over a minute from what the other people running this hack do in the Star World levels.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that. I hadn't seen enough of the other runs to internalize that. That's awesome. A very good classic speedrun trade-off, right?
Yep.
And as you get that experience in it, you have to trade off the doing the harder things to save the time that you can save, that you can eke out left from it.
Yeah, our buddy Gossip Greg, when they introduced the new route to me and the other runner Shoujo, they were like, well, it's a really hard route and I don't think I would do it. And Shoujo went, oh, that is a hard route. I don't think I'll do it. And I went, you know what, we ball.
Yeah. So this one has a vertical screen ramp on it, which you can see things that fall off the bottom of the screen end up back at the top of the screen, which is definitely utilized in some interesting ways with these nets that would destroy a sprite. You have to drop some things and catch it as it falls from the top rather than just carry it with you. This level has these bullets that just never stop. This one is one that definitely is really tough on first play to kind of get used to the rhythm of it, but definitely does have a nice rhythm that you can lock in on once you've played it enough times. You see, Shovda's grabbed all of the coins, and that was necessary to open up that one-up mushroom, which would only open up if you gathered all of the coins in there. Otherwise, you'd have to pull it up again. And we get our second boss fight.
That's what I get for not looking. Yeah, so one of the problems playing this boss fight is that you're watching two things at once.
Yeah, you want to keep looking at the Magic Koopa to make sure it's not going to hit you with the magic, but really the most important thing is to make sure you're going to land on a bullet on the bottom. So it is a balance, and it was really tough for me when I was learning this to figure out how to focus on those. I was so focused on the Magic Koopa, I kept falling again and again and again. Shev is making this look really easy. I took like hundreds of deaths to each of these bosses. But at least the Bullet Wizard is gone, taken care of.
And then as you can see, after the castle again, we have the Jeff Bezos Climate Pledge Palace. By the way, I didn't note this in the first one, but if you die in any of these rooms, you go back a room in the Switch Palaces. I just simply didn't die in the first one.
Yeah, we didn't explain that yet because it hadn't come up. So yeah, these use retrograde checkpoint system where which is a nice way to do it. You know, a lot of levels, a lot of hacks, and even this hack has spots where it's, you know, die and start the whole thing over. Not just in levels, but in stuff like this. This one works well where you can start to learn those early levels and not lose all of your progress each time if you really got it down.
Right, two worlds down. We will have 4 worlds, and then a chapter 2 Star World. I went the wrong way for a second. And then a chapter 3. So kind of 6 worlds.
Yeah, I guess a good way to think of it.
This next level has appeared in... variations on it have appeared in 2 GDQs before. The goal is to get this hack into a GDQ so that we can have the 3rd.
Yeah, definitely. This is a similar way of working as those levels and the same song, so it may seem very familiar if you've seen either of the previous hacks that have featured this. There's a Kaizo block right at the end that Shovda knows is there, so it doesn't hit, but it's very good and very funny. whenever anybody hits it.
It's always hilarious, and it's always unique and original when
Exactly.
a Kaizo block gets hit.
So these Star Road levels that we're ending up on at the end of each of these are some of the tougher levels in the game. Certainly at this point, once we get into Chapter 2, kind of all bets are off. But you may have noticed already that that those ones that are connected to stars are a little bit tougher, asking us to do a little bit more. And that's a common trope in these Kaizo games, where you have what seem like optional paths or what are, a more difficult path to get to that then unlock a more difficult thing to do.
Nothing much with Kaizo block with you, Blark.
Hey. A Kaizo block is a hidden block that when you hit your head on it, you die. Thank you for the opportunity to educate BGB. So the gimmick for this level is that every time you jump, it switches between being red or blue. And there's also a switch that you can manually switch between red and blue.
Yeah, it's sometimes Kaizo can be a little insular, and so we forget that we need to explain things like Kaizo block and in terms like that. So I do appreciate the reminder.
For sure.
What's a regrab? I don't know.
The regrab is a state of mind. So this is a pretty classic style of level where you need to feed the Yoshi. Yoshi eats 5 things and Yoshi gets big. There's a whole bunch of other stuff, as you can see as well, but that's the main point.
And then Yoshi Wings going to a new sub-level is a vanilla thing. The goal tape there is not usually in the Yoshi Wings level, but it takes you off the ledge usually, which counts as a different exit. So it's all just vanilla stuff. Vanilla meaning like in the original game, or things that just are in the original game.
Yeah, no modification necessary for it to work that way. Again, we got our hidden door leading to our comma switch, much less exciting than the exclamation point, another yump. The yump is that one frame trick again when you bounce off of it, instead of just sit there on top of the crushed switch.
And a yump is off of the big switch. A yimp, I guess, is off of a little switch.
Oh, see, I'm learning stuff.
A yimp needs to be done on the frame that you touch the P switch, and a yump needs to be done a frame after.
That was information that they had heard before, but did not know exactly which frames they were.
That's why I did something called 10 yumps, where you do 9 yimps in a yump in a row. I did that at the GDQ practice room, and that's why the last one is so annoying.
Yeah. It's just off of the rhythm. But in a way that you can't really quite control either. I didn't even think about explaining this, so yeah, that was another boss fight. You saw what happened.
That was all a reference to Kaizo 3, which is a ROM hack that is a part of the trilogy that started this Kaizo style of hacks.
This is why you need BD here. BD is always the one to remember the references.
Yeah. How many frames would a yump be in OOT? 3 of them. Yeah. No, wait, other way around. No, I don't remember. I'm too tired for this.
Yeah, it'd be 3.
Yeah, okay.
Except I think it's 4, right? Because OOT is 20 frames? Oh, you're right, it's 3. Yeah, okay. I was wondering if it's 15 or 20.
I think it's 20.
No, you're right, it is. So you another one here where we have these recursive rooms, and you see a lot of stuff here that we've been seeing already: on-off switches, vertical scroll, variations on a theme in ways that are really fun to see and play. There we go. If for anyone curious, the on-off switch in the switch room makes it so that a jump is necessary, and if you die, you would go back to the last room. Obviously not a very good speedrun strat, but pretty swaggy if you're brave enough.
4 jumps category is something that we should include, I think. But...
I would like that, yeah. And we have a very long walk to the hidden puzzle part for this section.
This is the hardest part of the speedrun, is not getting caught on anything when you're walking through.
Yeah.
So we have more Monster Energy drink. I'm going to do a hard skip here. Saves 3 seconds. You probably couldn't even tell, but that was a cycle skip.
Yep. Very nice.
And after this next, by the way, these little password levels, we're on the 3rd one of those. You have to input a little password that you're supposed to figure out by the clues, and they unlock the Star World level. Thankfully, I just have the passwords memorized. And this Star World level is actually a really tough one. It's been really bugging me lately in runs, so hopefully this goes well. Like... the Phanto.
Oh yeah, and the real frustration behind this level is that it's just a real long level, so
it is
a lot of time to keep going with it. So Phanto here, like Phanto in SMV 2, is tied to your movement. So you'll see Shovda kind of baiting the Phanto to get off screen, or baiting it to go different ways, and then quickly moving out of its way. And it's always a pain to deal with. This infinite flight, of course, is not vanilla, and that definitely is an interesting mechanic to get used to as well. So that kind of bouncing and moving around is similar to your normal spin fly, but controls ever so slightly different, or at least it feels different in the context. Nice.
Yeah, that level is 1 minute and 6 seconds from start to finish. Ask me how I know.
How do you know?
I died pretty close to the last frame and watched how many seconds I lost.
There you go. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we've probably already seen to some of your tastes for sure, and certainly that we will continue to see in this hack that feel very anti-speed running of it, and that level is definitely one of them. But it gets worse, I promise.
Yeah, we're still in the easy worlds. Yeah, once we get to chapter 2, oof. Thankfully, we don't do all the levels in chapter 2, which would be nasty, but I do in a different category.
Yeah. This one is a strict rhythm as those little bubbles are popping. They switch. This one always feels so much to me just like a B-sides shout out. So Maddie Thorson, who made this, also creator of Celeste. You know, you can have the secret rooms where you collect the cassette tape to get the B-side version of the level, and it feels like it's such a similar idea here, but in a still somehow fresh way.
And there is a level like it in one of Maddie's other hacks called Supersonic Saves the World. It's all of the Star World levels are kind of references to levels from that hack. It's one of the themes is reusing old ideas to try to build a new masterpiece out of old work.
This one is the toughest of the left-facing levels for sure. Oh, maybe not for sure, but in my opinion, mostly because of that jump right there.
Yeah, no, for sure is right.
Ooh, another yum.
Hitting a lot of yums tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I think I missed one so far out of the 6.
Yeah, I think that might be right.
And there's only 7. So.
Yeah. Let's see here, we got a return of those bullets. They're in a different, not in one line, but similar idea, moving across a really regular pattern here.
Oh, thank God.
There's some of those regrabs that we've heard so much about. Getting through that tight muncher space.
Yeah, I cannot articulate necessarily how difficult that ending is. Even watching it, I feel doesn't do it justice.
Yeah. No, definitely not. I would say that's true of this entire hack, too. For some context, in the time it takes you to play this entire hack, my first time playing it beat like 5 levels or something, which is not bad. That's not true. No, and it took me an entire day to beat it. I beat 1 level, 1 or 2, and the time it took you to beat the whole thing in the speedrun. Out of, you know, the 40 or so levels that we play, or 50? How many are there in any?
In any percent? I'm not entirely sure.
8%?
Gay percent,
yeah, I guess I don't know.
Gay percent is 47.
Okay.
And 100% is actually 61.
Mm. Right. So here, Shovda is controlling where those eggs are coming out from. Just controlling which level it's at. They come out at a regular pace. It's electrocuting. Look, these eggs are also really funky in a way that is, again, difficult to do verbal justice to, but they, like... You have to, like, grabbing them is kind of weird. You have to do a lot of not holding down Y. You grab them right away if you're holding Y, which is the button you also need to push to go fast, so it's easy to mess up and grab one on accident as you're trying to just get on top of it, etc., etc. A lot of subtle things that are invisible once you're actually when you're watching the run, but when you're playing it, feel a lot different than you are used to even in a game this style.
Yeah, for as difficult as this looks, I can guarantee you that it is, like, maybe 10 times harder to actually play. A lot of people will, like, be Twitch chat and, you know, be like, oh, it looks like I could do this. I play, like, Dark Souls and things like that. And then they get to it and, like, they try to play, like, one of the really popular hacks, like Grand Poo World 2 or Invictus, and they go, oh no, maybe I should start with an easy one. Which there are, they exist, and I implore you to like go seek them out and try to get into Kaizo. It's a lot of fun. It just cannot be overstated how difficult it can be at certain points.
Yeah, you need to start at the things that look really, really easy, because good players will make the very, very hard things still look easy. For some context, this hack is probably the toughest one I've ever beat, and it is at the second highest level of difficulty that we have for hacks on SMW Central, which is your location for all Super Mario World hacks. Great to look at, great to look through what we've got there. There's so many different styles and stuff, and there's something for everybody there. Unless you hate Mario platformers, then maybe not. But
that's fair.
Even then, there still might be.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
there's definitely a few on there that even break those things that you would expect. So, but yeah, we are redoing our difficulty thing over there, and this is considered now a master hack, which is the second hardest tier, just behind Grandmaster, which is even the best players will struggle for a very long time on it. So this is just below that, which is even the best players will struggle and then eventually get good at it.
Yep. And it should be noted too that this is not the like master difficulty stuff yet. We will get to that, but we are not there. This hack, you know, Maddie has some experience making a good game. It has a very nice difficulty curve to it.
Yeah, very true, very true.
All right, so do you want to explain RNG Castle?
Yeah, so this, we have 8 levels, and we need to beat 6 to move on. I got the numbers right there. And so they are randomly presented to us as we enter, and you have, that's it, pretty much. So you get 2 deaths possible because you can not beat 2 of them, but if any more beyond that, you got to start them all over again. It was not fun to learn these. And so you'll see as we're going through, you know, they're relatively short rooms, but they really do. It's to not know which one you're about to move into is really unnerving, because they require very different things at the beginning of each of them. They give you a moment to figure it out, thankfully, but if you're too hasty, you can definitely get yourself into a bad situation quick with them.
And because we beat 6, we're just going to take deaths on the last 2.
Yeah. You missed a good hidden hole in the floor there that I had watched you play this so many times and didn't know was there because you never fell in it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So this crab is pretty much everybody's least favorite boss in the game. You know, he's a modified but similar crab to the SMV2 clog rep. So this one's different in that it can't take damage for a certain amount of time when it's blue there, and of course just other little pieces of how it works. And so these rocks we can ride on, and we also need to throw them at him. As they turn red, they have 1 hit left before they break, so there's a little 2 bounce on them.
That was very lucky.
Very nice. Yeah, that was a tight ending there. The ending is really the toughest part of this whole fight too, which makes it very frustrating for speedruns. It's a long fight, and getting that deep, and then still having to the toughest part at that very end is, I'm sure.
Anxiety inducing, yeah.
Yeah. You can see Sonic is at the point of all is lost here. We've got a very good narrative arc through this hack.
I actually wrote an essay about this hack for a website, unwinnable.com, on the themes and metamodernism represented in it. If you go to unwinnable.com, you will see it in the list. We now have movement into the first credits. This is not the end of the run yet. We still have somewhere around 30 to 45 minutes left, depending on how well I do, but we're here.
Yeah, we're just getting started, basically. That was all the easy stuff.
Oh.
Now we get the credits / check your phone spot.
I do that every run. Yeah, I just loaded. I picked up my phone off the bed.
I guess I'll check mine in solidarity. Everyone can check your phone in solidarity
While listening to the good music ported by Bean
Yeah.
Jammin'. Do you know who Bean Jammin' is, Blue?
I do not.
They are Frozen Flygon's partner.
Oh, I should have known that, but I did not. Yeah,
No.
I did at one point know that name. And... yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I met him at SGDQ 2023, maybe? 2022? 2022.
Okay. Oh, nice. Cool. Is that his first porting for SMW?
No, he's done a few.
Oh, cool.
I just take my right hand off of the controller entirely here because I would hate to lose time by pressing B in the credits.
Yeah, that is a good call. I, of course, when I played this, tried to swim up into the pipe, every single new pipe, to see if there was anything in there.
I play tested this, and during one of the play tests, I went to the outside of the screen, and you can just like go outside where you're supposed to and die. Which Maddie had to fix for.
Yeah.
So this is where you learn that there's a puzzle, and you have to do all of the left-facing levels again to do the secret exits, but we've already done them, so LOL. And then we have the world's longest overworld event.
Yeah. Very intentionally.
And as you'll see, there are a number of levels here. We will see first, I believe... Did we see the blocks first? I think we do. That are in the way. And then the stars, which are all levels, and you have to beat stars to make some of the blocks disappear. And we figured out the fastest route, and you only have to do 4 of the 12 levels. Chapter 2.
Chapter 2.
So we start with A/B testing.
Yeah, so this one, the pink coins you have to spin through, the normal coins you normal jump through. So you're just making sure you are doing the right kind of jump for each part. There's actually a nice little trick that Shovda does in the run here that makes a lot of sense, but people would need to do on the first playthrough, which is to do that part to just kind of do a double jump there.
That's a Kaizo block at the end that we avoid.
Yes, that avoid the hilarious secret hidden Kaizo block at the end. so that got rid of 2. I do think it's interesting. You don't know when you're playing these levels for the first time how many it's going to erase. So you don't know. I thankfully had lots of people watching who had played this before, so they could tell me which ones were easier or harder, which is kind of based on how many they get rid of. But so this one, the things go up and the things go down. That's pretty much the gimmick of this level. It does give some interesting jumps where things are moving under you as you're jumping, and it's like you kind of feel like you're floating a little extra, a little discombobulating, but in the best way.
As you can see, the levels are getting longer, and I think even visually more difficult. We are vibing.
I'm getting into it. That's a 3 level. Got rid of 3 of those blocks. This one is a doozy. So this one is, each time you hit that switch, it randomly chooses through RNG either to be red or blue. And so as you go through this, you will get a fairly different playthrough each time you're doing it, because you don't know if you're going to get red or blue each time. So to get through this level, Shovda has to be prepared for both of those, and got all pink, which so you didn't get to see any of the blue. And it's yeah. It's not a terribly tough level to play for, even for the first time. I think it's almost tougher as a speedrun in some ways, because you have to be prepared for either one of them, so it throws you off from what you do next each time.
100% agreed.
Not to say it's an easy level to play the first time, but one of the few where not having a set way of doing things is actually to your benefit. So this one, Sonic is just very slow at falling when you're holding B. So he can do a lot of things he couldn't normally do otherwise. This has got some precision dropping of Sonic onto these to make sure you set everything up right. But Shovda makes it look very easy. And this is one that I watched you run that I thought was going to be easy, and it was very not easy when I played it. That ending part especially is just, it's so much tougher than it looks.
Now we have All Your Friends, which is a revisit of all of the bosses, but you start with 7 lives, you get 2 every time you beat a boss.
Yeah, who doesn't love a good boss rush, you know? You gotta, just, if you didn't, we've seen in the speedrun here that Shovda already knows what she's doing with each of these bosses, but for the first time player, it's just, a great chance to prove that you really know what you're doing with these bosses.
People were not entirely thrilled about having to redo all of the bosses.
I was being nice about it, but yeah, I would agree with that. Oh, you can see, yeah, there was an example of how these bullets can be really difficult sometimes. They spawn in as you're going through this fight. Chance to see the Reznor boss again. Through it all last time. This one's probably my favorite of the bosses to fight. Got a fluidity to it that is difficult to describe, but it's just it's a very satisfying one to play, I think, for me more than the others.
It also has phases to it, which the others don't have in the same way.
That's true. That's a good point, yeah. boy, it's gonna take forever to die.
Yep, and then we have our best friend again.
Oh yeah. Part of the fight definitely requires a lot of coming up with, thinking on your feet. Not always just knowing what you're going to do next, but observing where those rocks are and figuring out where your safe spots are to land. A lot of improvisation is what I was looking for, which is not a thing you find a lot in speedruns.
Okay.
All right, we're through.
Now we have 4 levels in a row that all, well, including this one, it's 5 levels in a row that all feel like they should maybe be the final level.
Yeah, I remember seeing some people playing this when it first came out, not before anyone had finished it, but before it was very well known and studied, and just thinking, oh, there's more. So this one is we're going to see a lot of familiar faces here. We are randomly getting these cards, and these cards lead us into different rooms where we're seeing a small snippet of basically levels that we've seen before. So as we're going along, again, you're going to see a whole bunch of stuff that looks familiar. It's kind of a, running back the greatest hits kind of style thing. The big caveat for this in the speedrun is that as we get these streaks going, it takes less and less time to go for each one. So we want to get those streaks. I want to keep those streaks as well as we can. But it is tough to do each of these, do all of these, all 30 of these or whatever, back to back to back to back for sure.
32 of them.
32, yeah. Thank you. Of course, we have to see the crab again.
Thankfully, this crab has a very set pattern to him.
Mm-hmm.
The actual boss fight does not, but for some reason these rocks really line up nicely. This is a hard one.
You can see we got that same RNG pattern again. There's a tough jump either way in that. Either you've got one tile that you need to get through, or you've got that big hook jump at the end, so. So some of these are based on levels that we didn't play in this version. This is one of them. This is another one we didn't get to see where the player is controlling this Haimari orb, which is a nod to Hyper 6, where these orbs chase you around and are a very notorious obstacle in that game. That's a tricky end where you need to go just fast enough to be able to fireball that one at the end.
That was very lucky.
Yeah, that Phanto is still really long even in this section. So this is supposed to shock and horrify you. That's a sneak preview of what is yet to come, as you can see. What was that at the top? That one's probably my favorite room because I saw you do it and I knew exactly what I had to do when I got to it, when I played it. Feel real cool. And as you can see each time here, we're collecting that coin, which is taking this out of the level. This is also based on a level we didn't get to see in this run, where at a certain time, you can see forward. Very good. That's a tough one.
That one is also tough.
Yeah, Shovda has a good tier list of which of these are the most difficult. And at a speedrun, they're all difficult, but certainly some of them are more difficult than others. This is one of the nicer breaks in the casual play through this game, where you know, it takes a while to get through this level just because there's so much content in it, but you have those little shorter snippets, and a lot of them are familiar movements and familiar things you've done. So when you're not speedrunning it, this is a nice section to reach. But you know, in speedrun late game, everything's tough to do, and then the tough things are even tougher. This room is based off of a room dedicated to Shovda that we didn't get to see in the run.
That's right, I'm friends with Maddie Thorson.
That's right. We got stuck in an elevator with her together once. That's my thing to fan. For, I don't even know, probably 5 seconds. But 5 seconds stuck in an elevator is a lot longer than it sounds. Shout out to GDQ speedrunners breaking the hotel elevators. Wide bat here. Our friend Trans-Icon wide bat. Try to make that shell trip look easy, but it's not. Back to the very first level of the game here. Shovda just avoided that on-off switch, which is a lot trickier than it looks.
All right, 32 streak.
Wow, that's your first time doing that in a marathon, right?
In a marathon, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, jeez, that's ridiculous. That is extremely, extremely uncommon. Even in your PB, I don't think you have
No,
that. You've
heck
done
no.
it before.
No,
but...
yeah. I'm gonna call somewhat serious time to end this run then.
Yeah.
Please do explain what this level is, though.
Yes, yeah. So in this one, we have RNG appearances that you buy with coins. So as those things are appearing, it can be a number of things, one of which is a black death block that we do not want to see at all. But can be in worse positions than others too. So the cloud is our friend, is probably our best friend, but you'll see that a lot of them we can use in different ways to get up and down and through different stuff here. And again, we're buying these each with a coin. So you'll see every time something appears, we get a coin disappear, and then we're collecting coins throughout. So the big trick here is that we want to make sure we get enough coins to get us through, but then at the end we want a decent number of coins left over because it's a kind of a tricky ending, and so we just want to make sure we have enough saved up to ensure that we can defeat RNG by paying our money, which is really a great metaphor for capitalism. So you'll see we're using them to just use our platforms as we're kind of going through. And this one's a really interesting level because there's a lot of different ways to do it. Like there's not unlike most things in Kaizo, it doesn't have a strict set path. That is, there's whatever you think is important to spend on, not spend on, be able to keep going through kind of where you are fine with doing a trickier jump or a easier jump. And all that plays through in just a normal run of it, but especially in the speed run becomes even more interesting.
Oh my god.
Oh.
That just ruined world record pace. That's fine. We're in a marathon. We're still having fun.
Very fine, but yeah, unfortunate timing on that. And this is what I meant when I said earlier that there are some things in this run that really make you feel like it didn't ever want to be speedrun, and putting a RNG dependent level at almost the very end of the hack is definitely part of that.
Well, now the nerves are gone, right?
True, that is true. Yeah, and it's just a very long level, so this is a level that frustrates many players on their first playthrough, and of course continues to on speedruns as well, because it just takes so much to get that deep into it that RNG can ruin a good run that you've put, ruin a good playthrough on the level that you put however much into at that point. You can see we brought that P-switch as far as we did.
We're gonna have to get lucky at the end here.
Yep.
And we did.
Yeah, nice. So we want to save that P-switch if we can till the very end, because if we get a black block on the bottom there, we are screwed. You can't overwrite the black block, which you can do for any of the other sprites. But using it on that second to last one was a gamble, but a smart one to make for sure. So this level is it has a really interesting mechanic that is less exploited in the speedrun than it is in a casual playthrough. So we have a set number of lives starting. You can see we have 9 levels starting, and as we go through, we're going to see opportunities to grab more lives. These 3-up lives that we can grab here. You do have to, after you grab it, finish the level to get those lives. And the lives are really kind of just an insurance. So you need to not run out of lives before you beat all the levels. Which in the casual playthrough, you have to collect a lot of those 3-ups to ensure that, because very long level and there's a lot to learn. You'll see that in the speedrun, we definitely get a few of them, but we're capturing them a lot more just when it's convenient rather than getting them sort of all over the place. And this is just really has a lot of different kind of mechanics built in. So here we finally see some shell tricks that we haven't seen a lot throughout the hack, some shell bumps that are kind of placed in here. A lot of precision in this level for sure. This is a very precise part here, for example. And yeah, just a lot of it's a very interesting level with a lot of different stuff going on in it. Also some cool graphics, some good jams. Here we have that same mechanic that we saw for briefly, where if you're holding an item, Sonic is swimming, and when he's not holding it, he's not. We missed that's the mechanic that the level dedicated to Shovda first shows us. We have in the one, and we're going to see a little bit more here. So you can see we're kind of reiterating on themes and doing different stuff here, where we're using different parts that we've seen before, adding in new stuff, trying to finally create that masterpiece. Here we have a really interesting mechanic where you're trying to do a shell jump off of the floating shell, which works surprisingly well, but it was definitely awkward to get used to.
Oh, crap.
Yeah. The fact that you can do that with any sort of regularity, it shocks me. That part really got me on my playthrough with this level. I never figured out a good timing. I just got lucky enough by having plenty of lives. Here we see some disco shells, which Sonic or Mario bounce off of with some kind of interesting mechanics. These are vanilla. Not quite the color scheme, I guess, but otherwise pretty vanilla. Go ahead and grab that 3-up as we're on our way. It's pretty easy one to get. Oh, went for the quick on it.
This is one of the 3 hardest jumps in the hack.
Yeah, hard jump and a long room to have to redo if you mess it up.
Oh my gosh.
This one thankfully is not a long room. Very, yeah. This one is yeah. So you'll see we're getting these Birdo fights, which are all fairly tough in their own way. Bring something unique to it. Another monster back. And we'll see that through a few more levels here. The keen of eye will notice that Shovda doesn't use that second donut platform at all. It is just a timing mechanism. But it doesn't lose any time. So why not? You see we get a fairly long one to finish our our last of the normal levels. You know, we've had a nice little walk question about Cotton Eye Joe before we get into this boss battle. Oh, thanks so much, Cruel. I was looking at stream, so I missed the whole fight. Great job. You had just started the fight over there, and then I turned back and you were done with it.
Alright, so this last level is called Masterpiece, and it's haha. And one of the reasons I'm salty and saying haha is because this is where the precision comes in, and it is a nasty, nasty level.
Yeah. Yeah, that jump in particular is the nastiest, but they're all pretty tough. And this is that back to that thing where it is such a run killer. And, you know, a run killer is never fun, but a run killer...
Alright, serious time. Okay, I had to listen for the...
Yeah, there's an audio cue there, so...
Alright, and time will be on fade out here, so that's a 106.22, which is a minute and 11 seconds off. This is why it's called gay percent, by the way. Your... Okay, and there's two things I'm going to check before you let me go, before you hook me off the stage. The first thing I'm going to check is the death counter. Blue, would you like to throw a guess in for how many deaths that was?
Ooh, it was low, like maybe 30.
Oh, it's at most in the 20s. I would say 22.
And that was as a guess too, but I was trying to be generous just in case.
19.
Woo!
That is my PB is 18.
Wow.
And yeah, without the death in the RNG level, that would have been a record easily. Yeah. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to check this level over here. It is titled "This Level Crashes the Game." I will give you two guesses as to what the level does. Here we go. I like to go in and there's the shell. There we go. And the game is yeah. So thank you for having me in Blue, and that was a lot of fun, and that was a pretty good marathon run. I'll say that was 6 minutes better than my time for Quest for Quet.
That was amazing. Great job. Thank you for having me. Thank you for putting this on. It was a ton of fun to watch and to be a part of.
All right, I'm gonna. I don't know if I should end my stream or when to do that.